Hey everyone, welcome to the 20 Podcast, brought to you by Beatsource. I'm your host, DJ Spider. Oh man, what an insane couple of weeks I have had. How have your gigs been? Let me know. Send me a message on Instagram at DJ Spider, DJ SPIDER. Send me a direct message and let me know, or leave a comment on our YouTube page underneath. Let me know how your gigs have been, any topics you want me to discuss, all that stuff. I care about you guys. I want to know. But I know you guys care about my crazy stories, so I'm going to let you in on what kind of crazy couple weeks I've had before we get into this episode. I played some super fun gigs in Atlantic City, New Jersey at HQ2. Shout out to everybody over there, Zach and Manny and everybody. Then I went over to DJs in Belmar, New Jersey, which is absolute insanity, and it was Labor Day Sunday, no less, so it was the craziest day of the entire year at that club. So look it up online if you have not, but wow, they sing The Calling, that song, just the synth part, if you play it just over and over. So it's a sight to behold. I was also in Virginia Beach. I got to play a festival on the beach that was put on by the city of Virginia Beach. Shout to my man Joe Fu. We got to do it together. It was so much fun. Also shout to Chad Hugo, legend that I was able to reconnect with through being down in his hometown. And what else happened, man? Okay, so from there, came back home, came to LA, spent some quality time with my wife and son back in LA, handled some business, and I ended up creating an entire original song from scratch with Travis Barker. I started this beat, I started doing it, started working with my man Novador. We sent it over to Travis, ended up in his studio for an entire day. I have like some footage that maybe I can release at some point, but so much fun creating this whole original song from scratch with him. He's playing drums, I'm scratching, it's all sample free, all original music. Like I said, my man Novador helped me out so much with it. Johnny Good, the bass player for Lady Gaga, played bass on it. We had Kate Thrash play guitar. It was just so much fun to do, and that was just the beginning. I've got so many stories out of this, but once we finished the track, I had my first night at the Floor Room, which is a new hotspot in LA owned by the Tao Group. You can find me there the next 2 Fridays, this Friday and next Friday, and hopefully a bunch more after that, playing really dope music. It's like more of like a lounge vibe, but keeping it sexy, so much fun. I play all types of dope stuff, eccentric edits and Kate Renata, and like really dope music, older hip hop. So come through, Floor Room. So I literally went there the second we finished the song, finished my set, stayed up all night, went right to the airport in LA, took a flight from LAX to JFK, straight to New York, went straight from the airport right to the Tommy Hilfiger fitting room where I got fit in all these Tommy Hilfiger clothes. Look at this jacket. Okay, it's not coming out for a while, so exclusive, baby. Got to show off for you guys. But the song we composed was for the New York Fashion Week fashion show for Tommy Hilfiger, which was insane. Everybody ever was there, from Kodak Black, Lil Uzi Vert, Trippie Redd kind of rappers, to Kate Moss and Travis and Jean-Baptiste, and I mean, every celebrity, everybody was there. It was insane. I ended up being up there during the whole entire fashion show, in the pouring rain, and then me and Travis performed the track live for the entire crowd and pretty much for the entire world, because it got streamed inside of Roblox, YouTube, on Tommy Hilfiger website, all over the place, and still lives on there if you want to check it out. And we were in the pouring rain, so RIP to all the DJ equipment. I had the new Techniques MK7 turntables, soaking wet, new 3000s, had the S11 mixer. My computer, which I don't know how I'm recording on right now, lived through all of this. We'll see if it crumbles or electrocutes me. But wow, what a thing. I've got such crazy stories from that entire trip. Thank you to everybody that helped me out with everything. And hopefully I'll share way more about this and more of these stories soon. If you want to check the performance, like I said, it's on the Tommy Hilfiger website. It's on their YouTube page, the entire archive. You're able to see us perform live. It's also on Roblox and pretty much every fashion magazine from Vogue to Rolling Stone to everything. It's on their Instagram. So I'm so grateful for that experience. I'm working on my own recap video from that event and all the stuff leading up to it. So wow, crazy 2 weeks. Thankful to be back out here DJing and doing the thing and being able to share it with you guys. If you guys got any questions or anything you want to talk to me about, like I said, hit me up in the comments, send me a DM. We can discuss more of this on the show. But enough about me. Let us talk about our incredible guest on this week's episode. On today's show, we have got a DJ who has been doing this for over 15 years, and it shows. Her ability to play so many different genres in a knowledgeable, creative, and talented way is beyond impressive. She has played many of the major clubs in Las Vegas, which is where she's based, from Encore Beach Club to Marquee to Jewel and way more, and she continues to be a staple in the Vegas scene out there. She's constantly doing clubs and playing at all the biggest, most high-profile clubs and just absolutely killing it. She also tours around playing nightclubs around the country herself. And she was the DJ, the tour DJ for Jordan Sparks in 2015 and 2016, going all over, doing everything from concerts to corporate events. And then in 2016, which was the birth of this station, she started her own weekly mix show on SiriusXM's Globalization, which is when that started. And it's still running to this day. So that says a lot about her and her skills. And the show is listened to by countless people. Her skills are undeniable and her drive is unmatched because during the pandemic, she took to live streaming and she took it to really a whole new level, like beyond a lot of the DJs that were killing it on Twitch. She grew an audience of 20,000 followers. Her subscriber level was huge and probably still is. And to this day, she's doing multiple themed shows per week. You got to go check it out. So I'll let you guys hear the rest of her story in detail in this interview. Please welcome to the show, VTECH. All right, we're here. It's the 20 podcast, and we have got VTECH on the show. Make some noise, everybody. That's right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Blood owl.
Snoop gives you a blood owl. You're in the house. That means you're official. It's
yes.
the 20 podcast. Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Pharrell with the yes, sir. It's okay. Yes, VTECH, like we just said before we started recording, we've been talking about this for a year and a half. It's a long time coming, this interview. So I'm happy you're here.
Likewise. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to the show. And I just randomly, before we get started all the way and people get to know you, I just talked to Brian from the park in Sacramento, and because I was doing a little research on you, looking at your social media and different stuff, and I saw you post a flyer for the park in Sacramento, and
yes,
I was
that's actually
talking
this
to
weekend.
Yeah, I was talking to him last night, and I was like, "Oh, I'm about to interview VTECH tomorrow." He's like, "She absolutely crushed it at Mix." Like he was saying so much good stuff about you. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very nice to hear.
Yeah, and he knows what's up. I've been DJing there for like over 15 years, and he's had every DJ ever. So for him to say that, I think is a big deal.
That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know. It's always good to hear cool stuff like that from people who book DJs. So
yeah, right. That's what you want to hear. So all you bookers out there, she's getting a cosign from one of the hardcore bookers.
There you
Listen
go.
to that.
Listen up.
But yeah, so for people that don't know, you are based in Las Vegas, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you're originally from Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, LA County. I always say LA to anybody who's not from LA because,
so
if you're not from there. Southern California.
Okay.
Almost the IE, kind of right in the middle. So.
Oh, really? Like where?
I grew up in Diamond Bar, California.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know.
It's like right next to Pomona.
Yes. Driven through, seen it, been there.
That makes me feel like I'm in one of those flyover states. I drove through it once.
Driven through
Nobody
it.
goes to Diamond Bar.
I mean, I drive right
kidding,
through it when you're going to Vegas. Well, when I go, my son has all these soccer tournaments, so we end up like in every city ever, like, nice. Pomona and Norco and like all these IE spots. So I've been through it. But you've been in Vegas for a really long time, right? I feel like I've
been in Vegas since 2013, so it's been a minute.
Oh, okay. So almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And within that time, oh my God, you've pretty much DJ'd at like every major club, right?
Yeah, but yeah, like some of them aren't there anymore. You know how Vegas is, the
Oh yeah.
life span of a club is like
Yeah.
7, 8 years, except for if you're a Tao or something like that. But
Right.
yeah, I wouldn't say every single one, but most of them. I mean, that
But
were here when I got here. So yeah.
yeah. And you still do, I mean, a lot of them regularly, right? I saw you were just at Marquee Beach Club and
Hmm.
I mean, you seem to do all their properties like the Tao Group
Yeah,
stuff,
Tao
right?
group. Exactly. So Tao, Jewel, Marquee Day Club, um, right now,
Right.
right now mainly Tao group properties. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I used to play at Encore Beach Club for a while and just, one-off spots here and there. So been
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Oh my God. Amazing. Well, yeah, I mean, those are like the top spots in Vegas for people that know or don't know. And now Tao owns like almost every single
Everything, right?
club
I know.
except
I
for
kind
like
of
the
lucked out in
Win.
that regard.
Oh my God. It's crazy, right? And like their main open format spots are still like Marquee, like you said, Marquee, Tao, Jewel, and
Yeah.
I think that's it. Maybe some other stuff here and
Tao
there, but
Beach.
right.
But
Tao
yeah,
Beach.
They own Hakkasan now. I haven't
Right.
played Hakkasan, but I know they oh wait, no. I played
Well,
Omnia.
pre-pandemic, they were doing that Sunday night. That was more open format, which was kind of hip hop. But I
Yeah.
feel like lately, or since for a while, it's back to like pretty much an EDM or whatever it's called, trap kind of spot.
Yeah,
It
something
depends
like
who's
that.
there, like Millennium, or
True.
that kind of trap. I mean, yeah, like
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of hit and like sometimes they'll have big hip hop DJs, like Lil Jon or
right,
something, and then you'll have
true,
Millennium who just is super hardcore, like EDC
yeah,
playing main stage type dude. Yeah.
right.
So
Right.
they
Yeah,
mix
and
it
like
up.
Nightmare and all that. Um,
Yeah.
and so, I know you play all these amazing clubs in Vegas and I want to dig into that a little bit more. But you also seem to travel a lot and like, be a tour. You've been a touring DJ for a long time. Do you have any places that are like your favorite places to DJ, when you go around and play around the country or the world?
Recently since I've been on Scam, I've kind of played some venues I've never played before. So
Yeah.
I think often you have to play, like you might have one good experience at a venue and then the next time might not be as fun, or vice versa. It wasn't fun the first time and now it is. So I'm still kind of doing the double round on these to kind of see which ones I like best. But
Right.
um, just anything that where the crowd is really fun. Actually, recently I played in Winnipeg at this club. It was 18 and over, and you know how those kids like to party when they're
Oh
18
yeah.
and they just go nuts because it's their first experience being at
Yeah.
clubs, and it's just
I
like
love that. It's fun.
I love 18 and over clubs. Oh man, it's like reminds me of OHM in Hollywood. Remember that one? It was 18 and over. They would
Yes,
go
totally.
nuts. It was
Yeah.
cool. I love the energy because I'm like super high energy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I played like hip hop and all that stuff, but in my soul, if I can jump around and party my whole set, that's what I like to
Yeah.
do. So that club it was called Cowboys. It's in Winnipeg. It was surprisingly just so energetic, and I think it's the 18 and over aspect. So pretty much any 18 and over club I'm here for. But
Nice.
21 and over is also fun too, of course.
Right,
I'm in
right. No,
Vegas,
it's just
so
it's a different vibe. Yeah. I mean, there's even becoming like I feel like in some cities or in LA now that are like you're allowed it's 21 and over, but they're geared more towards older crowds and stuff too. Like I did this spot last Friday, Flow Room, and I think it's geared towards the people that want to
yeah,
go out but don't necessarily want to be in the like nightclub bottle service, like with peppas and crazy stuff in your face,
exactly.
maybe hear like some older music or more K-Tronada-ish vibes, but still be able to party and have fun.
Yeah, like those are cool. It's like just a different type of DJing, a different type of fun. It's more of a vibe, like you said,
Yeah,
over being a huge party with cryo and confetti and,
right.
pepas and all you said. But I mean, it's all, I love DJing in general. So I can really vibe with most gigs. Although LA is a bit tricky because LA is just, everybody's too cool in LA. So it's always like, you got to play all the B-side Drake tracks, to be cool. But
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so
I
true.
prefer Las
Yeah.
Vegas over LA. Just put it that way.
Yeah, well, it's way people come to Vegas with just the idea of partying and going crazy and letting loose, spending money and just going all out. And yeah, LA's either you're from out of town and you're trying to fit in, so you're trying to look cool, or you live here, so you're in that whole vibe of like I'm showing up to the
Yeah,
club, like the club closes
exactly.
at 2 a.m. and you show up at like 1:47 a.m. or something, you know?
That is exactly like LA. Yes, and it's cool. It's a vibe and all. And but
Yeah,
I mean, just personally, I've always liked to party.
right.
And I'm not afraid to admit I like a big party because some people will say, oh, I just love to DJ, so it doesn't matter the room. I'll play small room, big room, and of course, I'll play small rooms, big rooms. I love playing small rooms; they're cool, but it has to be like house party vibes, not
Yeah,
like small room where everybody's just too fucking cool to dance or like enjoy the music or look like they're enjoying music because they're trying to be cool.
right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just like when people are really vibing, whether it's a house party vibe or a big EDM club type vibe. So,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, that was sort of my challenge with this gig Friday night because they didn't want people to dance, but they do want it to be a vibe and they wanted certain kind of music. And so it was like, and I did the whole night. And so I remember like the first 2 hours, it was cool. And then the owner came up at like midnight and was like, all right, you're doing great. You're playing in the room perfectly. Now's the time to bring up the energy 15%. And I'm like, I love those like exact percentages. I'm like,
like, oh, let me go ahead and turn my throttle up real quick to
well, yeah, I'm
15%
like, I'm
more
glad you
energy.
said that because I'm about to hit him with 13%, and then I'm going to add on a 2% right at the end. It's like, I
Management
know
always has a funny way of like dictating what sort of energy should be in the room when
right,
it's just funny that he would say 15%. That sounds very
right.
manager like.
I know. Like, what are some of the things like managers have said to you that are just ridiculous? Or they'll say like, bring up the energy, or just like random stereotypical basic
Oh,
things
that
like
is
that, right?
so typical of Las Vegas. Yes. I mean, generally speaking, I feel like lately after the pandemic, they're not so down your
Yeah,
throat
I
with
agree.
but be pre-pandemic, yeah, like you'll just get random um like and also how Vegas clubs there's like 15 managers, right? So you
I know.
sometimes you don't even know they're all on different pages. Somebody might think
Yep.
one thing or the other. So I
Yeah.
would say pre-pandemic they were more nitpicky about things where you could be literally like going hard and they're like bring the energy up and you're like all right, or make it more chill and you're literally playing like Usher. So it kind of it's a little bit of a game where you're like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you because you're the manager, but at the same time I'm
Right.
like, well, what exactly do you want me to do here? Do you want me to slow it down and play some like reggae for you to really chill it out? Because I'll show you how to
Right.
chill out the room real quick. But
I know.
it's become a finesse. Like the more you play, I would say too, the only places I've really had that happen a lot is Las Vegas. But I would say
Yeah.
the longer you've been here, the easier it is to read them and know exactly what they mean.
That's true. Yeah. And if they know that you're like a credible person, then maybe they won't give you as much shit as like if they're like, who is it? It's your first time there.
Yeah, where they're really watching you and they're like, listening for every little, detail, which is kind of shitty because I've even had some friends who DJ who I know are great DJs, but
Yeah.
maybe they come into a room that they're not familiar with in Vegas or they're not familiar with management telling them anything at all. So when
Right.
they say one thing, people who play a lot in Vegas take it with a grain of salt and you just do what they
Yeah.
say. But other people, if you're brand new to playing in Las Vegas, they get all like, oh no, am I fucking up? When they're not. They're
Right.
just being told regular things by managers because, that's just how Vegas is. But
Yeah, it's
yeah.
true. I know. I mean, look, it's taken me forever to get to the point where I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know I'm a good
Right?
DJ. So if they don't like me, it's not me. You know what I mean? It's like the situation or them or whatever it was. It just wasn't right. You know what I mean? It's like almost like a
100%.
relationship. Like we're just not meant to be together then. You know what I mean? It's like I know that I know what I'm doing and I know how to do it. But if you don't like how I'm doing it, then see you later type of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah, you develop a little bit of a thick skin the more you
Yeah.
play and the more you get I didn't turn the volume off on my iPad, but
Oh,
okay, it
it's
only
okay.
does Twitch notifications. So
It's all right.
I
I
use it
can't hear
to
it.
okay, cool. Yeah, so you develop kind of a thick skin the longer you play and the more you get booked and get good feedback when you happen to kind of disconnect with a venue or a management, which really doesn't happen often, but if it does happen, you kind of just, like you said, it wasn't a right vibe. It just wasn't for me or whatever. Like I didn't,
Yeah.
it just wasn't for me. Like not everything is for everybody or not every room is for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And let those comments sort of like take it in, like you said, take it with a grain of salt and then just go forward and not let
yeah.
it like throw off your whole thing.
Yeah.
What are some of your like favorite residencies that you had? I know, like you said, you did Encore Beach Club and a bunch of places in Vegas. Do you have any specific ones that stand out to you?
Well, Encore Beach Club was awesome because it's Encore Beach Club. And
Yeah.
to be in a booth that's made for the biggest DJs in the world, and I'm just talking technical. The speakers are
Right.
banging, the
Yeah.
hospitality is banging. It's like, and I'm playing house music, which I love. That was my first, I was playing these backyard raves in Compton back in the day. So that was
Really?
my first thing. Yeah, I was into dance music, back when it was more
Amazing.
like
Yeah.
indie disco.
So
Remember
so
like
growing
the
up in the IE, you were part of the rave scene.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and I've been going to raves for 15 years now too. I just love going. I just think it's so cool and magical. And I love that music. So the
Right.
fact that I was playing at Encore Beach Club, dance music with banging speakers, and it was just a vibe. So I was there for about 3 years. Mighty Mai was the one who put me on there because I was making
Nice.
music with him. And I would say that stands out as just being fun as hell because obvious reasons I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the reason I even moved to Las Vegas was I started working with Tao Group.
Okay.
So I played Tao Beach and I would open the nightclub a bunch. I would never headline, I would just open Tao. And
Right.
I was like, I want a headline so bad. But it was just one of those things that just hadn't happened. But I still loved playing the room um, because it was a major, Vegas nightclub. And then all the Tao
Yeah.
Group properties after that. And so those stand out. Anything in Vegas always stands out. The big
Right.
clubs.
Yeah.
Um, but aside from that, I always loved playing OHM in Hollywood. So like I said, the
Yeah.
energy was just top tier.
I know.
And
It is true.
I'm sure there's ones I'm like kind of not, I mean, I've played so many venues over the years. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
not.
but no,
I mean,
those
there's
ones are
other ones.
legendary. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
coming to see you guys and Mighty Mai at Encore Beach Club, and yeah, it's just insane. It was like just world class, top of the line venue and booth and
Yeah, it's like
everything.
summer, you're in Las Vegas, you're playing house music, you're drinking.
Yeah.
It's just like a vibe. Good
Yeah.
times for sure.
So you came up going to raves and listening to dance music and stuff like that. What was like your first rave or the first thing you remember going to?
So I actually went to my first rave was at the Shrine in LA and it was called How
Okay.
Sweet It Is. I think it's been since changed to Beyond Wonderland. I think that's what that rave is now.
Okay.
But that was my first one and I was like, this is cool. And then I went to EDC when it was still in San Bernardino
Yeah.
in 2006. And
Okay.
I can't remember where it was. I saw him. I saw Tiesto though, and I was like, I knew I wanted to do something in entertainment. I had been thinking about it for a while, what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to sing, but I was like, nobody could be a singer unless you're like Whitney Houston, phenomenal because it's so saturated. And I wasn't
Uh-huh.
like great. So I was like, what could I do? I know I'm an entertainer somehow. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what the exact route I'm going to take is.
Right.
But I saw Tiesto and he was obviously DJing. And I'm like, that looks cool. I want to do that, And I had two buddies who DJ'd, but it was all backyard type stuff, so it wasn't really too nothing really clubbish.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anybody in my family who DJ'd or anything like that. So yeah, I just kind of saw that and I kind of went with it. So I bought my first pair of Techniques after seeing Tiesto, and that's where I got
Wow.
VTECH. Veronica is my name. Techniques VTECH.
Oh,
Pretty
that's
easy.
amazing. Okay.
People
I
always
never
think,
put
do you
that
drive a
together.
Honda? I know. People think I'm like, and then I didn't realize at the time because I started DJing in 2006. So I didn't realize at the time it's a kid's toy or like a telephone brand. Like if I had
That's
known
funny
that.
you say that. I didn't know that either, but I have a kid, and so I would buy him things, and it was like VTech, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. It's like,
I know.
exactly.
People send me shit all the time. And like I know. I wouldn't have named myself after a kid's toy, but I didn't come to know that until 7, 8 years later. At which point I'm like, I don't really want to rebrand. So
No,
it is
I
what
think
it
it's
is.
so separate and different. I mean, even I see your name and the kid's toy, and I still separate it in my
Yeah.
head.
I could never trademark VTECH, I guess. So there's
Right.
that. But
Yeah.
oh
Well,
well.
maybe you collab with the company and do something.
There you go.
But that's cool. So you started off with turntables, techniques,
hmm
and just started off on vinyl, or did you immediately have Serato then, or?
So I started off on vinyl briefly. Like I went record shopping because I didn't know that's what I knew about DJing is
Right.
turntables, records, and I had this old Vestax mixer, this gold one with no faders. It was all knobs.
Yeah.
Um, it was just, you know, and it was really frustrating to learn to the point of like I would cry because I'm like, I don't fucking understand this. Like what I couldn't really figure out what I was supposed to be doing. And then one
Yeah.
day it just clicked. I did one of my friends explained it to me kind of because before there's no YouTube really with
I
any
know.
tutorials. Nobody in my family knew to teach me. So I'm just like trying to learn by myself by playing the record and then the other one and like what the
Right.
fuck is supposed to be happening here, you know? And
Yeah.
so I would cry and I'm just like, fuck, it's so frustrating. And then a friend of mine told me, you know, try this, do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it clicked. So maybe for like a year I was doing records and then I got my Serato box and that was another beast to you know,
Oh
tackle
yeah.
because I didn't understand cue points and all that. When somebody showed me cue points, that's when I was like, okay, like I don't have to, you know, I can not constantly search, you know, because the waveform thing was fucking me up too because I'm like, okay, wait, am I supposed to be watching this or listening like before? I don't know. It was
Right.
just all kind of new. So started on records, went pretty quickly to Scratch Live, and yeah, I mean, once I got on Scratch Live and figured that out, that's I was only on record for like a year, but I mean, I still
Yeah.
will play here and there, but we were already in that era of Serato, so
Right. That was like the time when it was sort of the
yeah.
changeover. What records were you buying, or what kind of stuff were you
Dude, I was
playing at
buying the most
first?
random shit. I mean, whatever I could find because I didn't have nobody in my family's musical. Nobody was like, oh, this artist, you need to know these people, you know? And I always am envious of a lot of DJs who talk about their musical family members and they taught them all this music knowledge. And I'm like, okay, there was my cat meowing. It was really loud this time.
It's all right. It's all
Um,
part of the home interview process. We've
there
got
you go.
cats, dogs, turtles,
I
whatever
know. I
makes
would let him
sounds.
in, but he would literally like want to be all over me and it would just be too much.
Well, maybe
So,
he can make a cameo at the
a
end or
cameo.
something.
Maybe I'll let him in a bit. Um, so now I lost my train of thought. What was I
Oh,
saying?
it's okay. No, you were just saying you were buying all types of random shit for your records
Yeah,
and
like I
like
literally
what
bought
you
like,
were practicing with. Yeah, stuff like that.
and that's probably also why it was very difficult for me to learn because I'm literally buying like Grease, and then I bought like Michael Jackson, and then I'd buy Steely Dan, and then I'd have I was just buying records. I had no rhyme or reason. I mean,
Right.
I kind of looked at names that I knew, but I didn't really know the music. It was just names that I knew, and I'd go to a lot of thrift stores and some vinyl stores and just pick shit out and just to practice with.
Right.
So that's really what the kind of records I had was all over the place. I didn't have a cool record collection like some of y'all OGs or anything like that. It was just records
Yeah.
that I could find.
Well, but
So
funny enough, that's sort of like show it still feeds into like your style now. Like I feel like you're so versatile. Like watching you on Twitch and the amount of different specific themes and genres and stuff that you're able to like pull off knowledgeably and you know, like you're really good at playing all the different genres. So it's funny that you're
thank
like,
you.
I started off with every genre
I
and
know.
now you're still
When
doing it.
when I was also like a kid, I used to have this karaoke machine that my parents bought me, and I would record off the radio on the tape, you know, cassette.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time the songs that I liked were so eclectic. I remember loving Alanis Morissette. I loved Daft Punk. I loved Celine Dion and Jewel. Like it was just all these random, like I don't know. Just to me, it felt a little bit eclectic now. But knowing then, I didn't
Right.
know what genres were. I just liked the songs, you
Yeah,
know.
of course. Yeah.
Um, and like for Christmas, I remember my parents bought me Jagged Little Pill. I like learned the whole freaking album, whatever, back front to
Yeah.
back, and I loved it. I listened to it. My parents were like, "Turn that shit off already!" Like Jesus. But
That's
yeah,
amazing. So
pretty.
then what
I've always loved
what
it all.
did
Yeah.
your parents think when you were like, I'm gonna be a DJ? I saw Tiesto, I got techniques. Like What happened
You
then?
know, my parents are actually super cool and supportive in that
Okay.
regard. I would lock myself up in my room and I would be DJing for like 10 hours, sweating my ass off because it was an add-on on the house. There's no air yet. I'm literally dripping sweat. My parents are like, "You want a sandwich or some water?" But they were super supportive. They always were like, "If that's what you want to do, go for it," you know?
How
And
how old were you? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
no, it's okay. I was about 17.
Okay.
I think. Yeah,
Crazy.
when I
Yeah.
started, I want to say like, because I started going to raves at like 16, 17.
Right.
So
Me
around
too,
that time. But
probably.
then for like, yeah, that while I was like while I was playing those backyard raves in like Bell Gardens and Paramount and Compton, I would be practicing in my room, downloading music and going to blogs and just like sweating
Yeah.
my ass off trying to get music, because
Right.
I fell in love with it and I was like, this is so cool. I love doing this. And so it's
Yeah.
easy to practice too much when you love something.
Oh, totally. Have such a similar like story like that where same, started going to raves, in LA around 16. I went to
Back
all
when there
the
was an age
inside.
before an age limit. There was no age
Yes.
limit
I
back
mean,
then.
yeah.
Or
And this was
16 or
like,
something.
oh, there was no age limit. These were like
Yeah.
illegal. Like, it was Pasquale, like the same person that
Make a
throws
left at
the,
the red house.
yes, it was
Right?
like that. We would have to go get this little card with the directions and but yeah, I mean it was the same kind of thing. I would go, I didn't even know what they were doing, and I would go to Pasquale's raves, like the Insomniac raves and all that
Right.
stuff. And I remember seeing the DJs and same thing. I'm like, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it, and nobody I knows how to do it. And my one friend had turntables, and same, we would just buy all kinds of records like drum and bass and hip hop and try to mix it together and figure it
Yeah.
out.
Just
So
all over the place. That's why it's so hard. You're trying to,
yeah,
mix some like 82 BPM, the
yeah,
82 BPM track with some Daft Punk like 119
right,
BPM record or something, and it's just not working, but you didn't really understand what that was happening yet. And then you finally
totally.
clicked and yeah.
Yeah. But that's the kind of the beauty of it. And I feel like that's where you get that experience and you get that knowledge and you even get that ability to be able to mix all the genres together because you didn't learn with just like, oh, I have the intro edit and it goes in and out. Like you're like, I
Yeah,
got to
very
figure
true.
out how to hear that one part where it cuts out and put the drum fill or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
gives you a
Or
different
songs that
skill.
start with a little bit of
Right.
vocals before the downbeat. You had to count like when I could drop it in so that it could be on the downbeat when it starts,
Yes.
like things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, and then, but all of that shows like now in your DJing of how you're able to mix all the genres and all that stuff. So it pays off in the long run. Um,
Yeah. I think what
that's
helped
so
me on
cool.
Twitch too was
Yeah.
playing a lot of genres because I felt like I would get burnt out just playing hip hop or just playing dance music or just playing whatever. Because I've been on it for over 2 years now, and I feel like if I would have just stuck to one genre, I might not have either played as much as I did or I would have burnt out and not played at all anymore. Because I'd be like, I'm bored.
Right.
But
Yeah. I know what
yeah,
you mean. Yeah, and like I mean, you really like kill it on Twitch, and you've like put in so much
thank you.
work. And for as much as you were doing before the pandemic and before Twitch, and as successful as you were doing all those amazing Vegas gigs. And but when the pandemic hit, there were certain people. A lot of people went on to Instagram Live and Twitch and all that. But I think you were one of those people that stood out as like you were putting in work on multiple fronts, from the way it looked, from the green screen to your thought out themes to the way you were just running the whole show and talking to the audience. And it was like a professional operation. And even to this day, like Edwin a week or two ago just sent me your stream when you were on. He was like, look at this. Like, Edwin from DJCITY, he was like, look at her
Yeah.
visuals. Da, da, da. He was like, analyze it. And I'm like, I know, it's insane. Like, I don't know how she does all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Well, shout out to Edwin. That's nice of him to say thank you.
yeah, we were just texting back and forth, like looking at it, like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I love how you'll do the oldies and you'll make it look old, and you'll have the overlays with the old TV, and you'll do the rave cave, and you really make you feel like you're there, as much as possible for like a
Of course,
streaming
virtually,
experience.
but yeah, like it's a little bit more of a visual added sensory to your audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through some of the ones that are just like on your Twitch. I know you do basically any genre you ever want to, but you had like some, past ones of like house, disco, funk, the rave cave, which is obviously rave, hip hop, R&B, a ratchet set, 80s set, 90s set. I was like, yo, you're like a human SiriusXM machine or something like you just could
Well,
turn
that's the
any
beauty
channel.
of Twitch.
Yeah,
It was
it's
just
so
cool
cool
to be
though.
able to play. Yeah, like I mean, I've come. I always thought I loved all genres of music, but I feel
Right.
like playing on Twitch has really given me a lot more of an appreciation and love for all of the genres, and
Yeah.
just connecting with people with all these different things, and getting to make the backgrounds because I do my own graphic design. That's what I went to school for. So
Oh
I
my God, that's
just, but I had all
incredible.
this free time in during the
Yeah.
pandemic, so it was kind of easy because I had so much time. So I'd spend like 12 hours making like a background, and then I slowly built upon them. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's why I get to make all these cool little backgrounds. And that's what makes it more fun to me to play these genres because I'm like, got these colorful lights and I'm playing 80s music, you know? It's just corny as
Right.
fuck, but it's great.
No,
And
it's the best. Same,
yeah.
same with me. Even if if I'll get hired for a virtual event, it's not even a Twitch thing, and they want me to put something together, I try to make it exactly. Or I did like a Burning Man thing, and I was like DJing inside of mushrooms and doing crazy
Yeah,
stuff,
that's
and like
awesome.
so
So
much fun.
cool.
And it makes it more fun for me to build it and just feel like I'm there, and then I can see myself on the screen. I'm playing the music, and and I
Totally.
know
Doesn't it
I
make
have
you
my
feel
little.
happier about it?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
And have the stream deck and bringing it in and being able to show, you're able to really, really get your own personality across, I feel like,
100%. Yeah. It's definitely
that's
a place
amazing.
to kind of shine and do. I throw all whatever I've got at Twitch because I try to stand out, stay interesting, keep people coming back, make people subscribe. Like, so I literally, whatever last talent that I have, I try to throw at Twitch, whether it's rapping on screen, drawing on screen, or like whatever I can do. I'm like, how can I incorporate this? Because I just want to be interesting and have these people come back. Because I know it could get stagnant for some people. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what else I got? What else can I muster up so I can keep people up in here, you
Yeah.
know?
That's so interesting though. So because even the things you named off are maybe things that people wouldn't have thought of or wouldn't even bring into their musical Twitch. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I mean, rapping on stream is amazing, but like drawing and stuff like that too. Like so. Yeah. What are some of the things? I guess you're so experienced now from doing it for over 2 years. What are some of the things that you've learned? Maybe that you could pass on to people that are doing it or want to get into it or things like that from Twitch.
First of all, just do it. A lot of people think because everybody's been on for so long, they're like, well, it's kind of late now. I'm late to the game.
Yeah.
But, there's a famous quote that I like. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Because,
That's
people tend
great.
to just not, yeah, people tend to just think, well, it's already late. Like, who gives a fuck? Just do it anyway,
Right.
Because then in 5 years, now you're going to be 5 years experience with it. So,
So true.
yeah, so that's the number one thing is just do it and you'll figure it out along the way. Because just like I would cry when I first started DJing because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing and I'd just be so frustrated with not
Right.
knowing. Same thing with Twitch. I would watch, it took a couple months before I could even get more viewers than just my family members in there because I didn't really, yeah, it was difficult. And I see everybody getting so successful and I'm like, boo hoo, what's a raid train? What's a hype train? What's a emote? All these things.
Yeah.
And eventually you figure it out though, and then it becomes second nature. And I remember
Right.
telling myself when I started Twitch and I was so frustrated, remember how frustrated you were when you didn't know shit about DJing. And then you learned how to DJ and do different things. And so now
Yeah.
you're comfortable with it. So I told myself that and I was like, be zen. And so it was just patience. And then within, a few months, 6 months or so, you definitely know what's going on. You're still learning, but you know what's going on where it's not just deer in headlights on the screen, like
Right.
everybody probably was when we first started on Twitch.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so just do it. And then you'll figure out what your likes and dislikes are and what makes you feel comfortable. And I would say too, if you have weird things, like quirky things about you, I mean, to an extent, like leave them. I remember I'd watch myself back and I'm cringing because when you hear your own voice or you watch yourself.
Oh, yes.
You're like,
this is my life here. I can't. I'm like, I got to listen back to edit. I'm like, I don't want to hear myself talk or tell the story.
Why is it so cringe to hear yourself
I don't
back?
know.
But,
it's hard.
you know, and I would, the one thing I would tell myself is to slow down when I'm talking because I talk so fast and I don't realize it until I listen back. And I'm like,
that's such a good lesson that I've had to learn from this. I'm like, I got to shut up more and I got to talk slower. It's like hard.
I talk so fast and I don't realize it at all. So really, I try to be conscious of it when I am interviewing or whatever. But other things that were kind of maybe what I would normally cringe at, I leave because I think that people tend to like your quirks and your personality. So yeah, just let yourself shine. Whatever it is your personality is, if you're cool and collected and calm, that's cool. If you're weird and you like to make funny noises on the mic, do that, you know, and you've developed your own community and people just come back for you. So, you know, it's the best advice.
Do you do like Discord and stuff like that in conjunction with your Twitch?
I do have a Discord. It took me a minute to get on Discord because I didn't really want to take on another social media, you know, platform because I'm like, we already got to do so fucking many, you know, Twitch,
oh my God,
Instagram, Twitter, you know, now Twitch. I mean, I'm sorry,
TikTok,
whatever, you get it, TikTok, which I barely started, and I still haven't learned how to make content for that yet. But so I was like, okay, I'll get a Discord, and it's a little bit slower now. But during the pandemic, I'd be posting, you know, I still post my shows on there, but during the pandemic, we'd be more, you know, talkative in there and stuff because it's basically a social media platform for just your Twitch people. Right. So yeah, you could talk about all things Twitch and everybody knows what you're talking about. It's not like Instagram where people are like, what's a Twitch? You know? So,
right. Yeah. It's almost like a message board that's like built for Twitch and like built for your own world to as big or small as you want it. Right.
Yeah, I'd post like recaps on there for people to watch back or see what's going on, just different things. Yeah. So. And
you're still super active on Twitch. Like I know some DJs have completely stopped, some have fallen off, some have changed their schedule. Do you still love it, and is it still as you know, good, either lucrative money-wise or good for your brand, or is it still something that's worth it for you, I guess?
So, anytime I can make money at home in some basketball shorts and socks, like I'm fucking here for it.
That is the truth.
So yes, I love Twitch. I will not stop on Twitch.
Blot out. Gotta give it a blot out.
I don't think I'll stop on Twitch until there's nobody watching me anymore. Like sometimes there's gonna be months where I'm very slow on there because I'm out of town a lot. There's a lot going on. I just can't get on.
Yeah, it's changed. Generally, it's a different time. Yeah.
So I would say monetarily it's a little bit slower, but like as long as I'm still making enough money for it to make sense for me, I'm there. Yeah. Because where the fuck else do I get to play rave music and jump around and be an idiot and get paid? Right. That's it. The end of sentence. Where else do I get to do that? On Twitch, you know. And it's a great place for me to put my graphic design background to use and keep me sharp on my skills for that because I have to create things and it's great. And like I can, you know, if it's Saturday night and I'm not booked, I'm like, fuck it, I'm on Twitch. Let's go. You know, let's fucking party.
Right. So, I know. Do you get a pretty good audience like if you do it on a Saturday night?
Oh yeah, you know, and generally if it's Saturday night, I'm doing something party mode-ish. Right. Usually a rave cave because I'm like, I get the zoomies where I'm like, I want to fucking jump around. So I'm gonna get on Twitch. And you know, I'm sure you've interviewed enough Twitch DJs to know that even though we're here in a room with a camera and there's nobody there, you're talking to your community and you feel like they're partying with you, you know, with the emotes and the animated emotes, especially now, because it's kind of a little bit more, you know, exciting to watch. So I love Twitch and I'm not going to stop until I'm not making like any money or I'm not attracting any audience. Because even if I'm not making, you know, good money like our particular night or something, I don't give a shit. If I'm playing dance music and I'm having a good ass time, I'm here for it. Like it's fun. I'm at home. You know.
And I mean, it's not always just about the money. Is like that's what I was saying is that maybe it could help your brand, or maybe it could do something else. And also, like you said, you're honing your skills as a graphic designer and all these things, and you're recording content that you never know who's going to see and could lead to something totally different. Also,
very true. I would say the number one thing I like about Twitch, aside from like, attracting new, and that's another thing. I have gotten many new, fans because people who see me
Right.
on there that would never have otherwise discovered me,
Yeah.
or known who the fuck this random DJ from Las Vegas is.
Yeah.
That's an upside. But I would say the number one thing I love about Twitch is getting to play whatever I want, whenever I want. Like, there's also, when else am I going to get to play an oldie set? Nothing but 50s and 60s music for 4 hours. Nowhere.
Right.
I mean, you could drop
Yeah.
that shit in here and there, but you're not going to get to play a whole set of,
Yeah. And
Johnny Cash
interact
and
with
the
the
Supremes.
audience. Yeah. And plus be able to hear what the audience is saying back to you about it, or they tell their stories related to the songs, and it becomes a whole interactive community kind of thing of listening to that music.
Yeah, and then you'll have people, especially on the oldie set, you'll have people come in and say like, "Oh, this reminds me of my grandma or my mom who
Exactly.
passed away or something." And I'm like, "I'm fucking happy I can bring some of that back to
Yeah.
you." Or, they're cooking dinner and they're like, "My dad and I used to cook dinner to oldies all the time," or whatever. So I'm like, "Cool, this is like nice." There's a little bit of a bigger purpose than just playing music and people partying, whatever. Somebody has some feelings of, with some fond memories. That's great. So I'm here
Yeah.
for it. If I can help somebody out, make them smile, let's do it.
Right. And how did you start? I mean, because you've built yourself up. You have over 20,000 followers on Twitch, which is huge. Not a lot of DJs have that, I don't think. And like, how did it even begin? Where was the first time you're like, wait, what is this site? I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, I knew that people were streaming on Instagram Live, so I did that too. But it was kind of a lot of work to set up
Yeah.
all the things needed to stream well. And it
Right.
was kind of a pain in the ass. And I mean, it was fun while you're actually streaming. And this is the pandemic, so we're not doing shit else. So you have time.
Yeah.
But I would have to set it up, tear it down, because I didn't have a space set up to stream every time I wanted. And
Right.
you didn't really make money on Instagram Live. And when we were not working at all, you kind of wanted to figure out a way to make money because nobody's in the clubs. We're not playing.
Oh my God. Trust me. I know.
Yeah, of course So yeah. And then somebody told me that you could make money on Twitch. And I was like, what? I can make money on there? That's what got me to Twitch, is I heard that you could make money because people could
Right.
subscribe and stuff. And I was like, okay. And here I am in like May or June of 2020 thinking like, okay, so what is this place and this thing and how do I stream? So I
Yeah.
started, I set up a little area, makeshift area that really, if you saw it now, it'd be like pathetic. It looks like I'm in a storage room. There's like things I crop it so you can't see all the shit next to me and whatnot. But
Right.
I started streaming and it was really slow and frustrating at first, but I'm like, this is cool. What else am I going to do?
Yeah.
Whatever. Started streaming a bunch and then slowly, you started bringing more people in and then generating a little bit of income, although minuscule at first. It was still something. I mean, we
Yeah.
weren't making money doing anything else. So that was cool. And then once I kind of got real serious about it and I started streaming a lot, I told my fiance, I was like, I need a space where I can just turn it on and plug in. I don't want to have to set it up every time because it's discouraging to have to do that. I'm like, I don't
I
want to take it
know.
off or tear it down and set it up. It's a pain in the ass. So he helped me kind of build one of the spare bedrooms in our house into a Twitch studio, which is where we're in now.
Nice.
I mean, it's cool. It like doesn't look like much, but it's actually, it's all set up to be very streamlined. So I can just plug in, boom, here we go.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
that's like, so to answer your question, I got started because I knew you could make money on it. And it was live streaming, which I had already done on Instagram. It was just a
Right.
different ball game, but more or less the
Yeah.
same thing. You're still streaming DJ sets. And then I saw, oh, people can make little borders and backgrounds. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know how to use these programs. I went to school for this. Let me see what I can
Yeah.
muster up and do. And then I started, building different backgrounds and stuff. For my first green screen was actually, those lime green poster boards from like the dollar store. I
Yeah.
just taped them all together. And that was my green screen for a minute. And then I wish I had footage from the original streams because it was kind of cool to see how it's evolved to like the rave cave now
Right.
from like the first initial, you know, graphic design things. And like that's another thing I tell people, nobody needs graphic design for Twitch. Like I do it because that's part of who I am. Like that's what I want to
Yeah.
go for. I like it. It's fun. I enjoy doing it, but you don't need it. It's not necessary at all. I see so many successful DJs on Twitch who just have the wall behind them and like a tree and like maybe a
Yeah.
little logo on the bottom. And I think that's fucking awesome. Like that's super cool and impressive and amazing. then you have people like Four Color Zach killing it with like the funniest shit ever. And I'm
Oh my
like,
God. And he's
so
the
great.
same. I mean, he's a graphic designer too, which is why he has all that amazing stuff, you know, and then he brings
Yeah, and
other people
Scene.
into it. Yeah,
Scene too.
Scene's like, oh my God, Scene's
He kills it.
Scene really, some of these people I feel like I started at the same time and then just watched them like take it to the next level. Like Scene is like, I'm like, how you got your turntables bouncing around?
Yeah, doing like the thing that they do. I'm like, he's fucking cool. And he's, you know, he's an amazing DJ. So,
Oh yeah,
and
not
Four Color
only
Zach.
exactly, they're both like two of my favorite DJs as
Like
well
top
as
notch, A-list,
amazing.
like so good.
But I feel like you bring that to the table too. That's what I'm saying is that you're able to pull off these genres with such like knowledge about them and such good skill as a DJ, as well as all the other things. So it really brings that full package, and that's why I think that you have such a big audience on there, and why people have gravitated towards you. And did being on Twitch lead to any other things out in the real world, or did that lead you to start working with Sujit at Scam Artists, like you mentioned, or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say it did. I mean, I knew Sujit already before, but I'm sure I was never really on the radar for Scam, which like I didn't think much about. And then
Mm-hmm.
during the pandemic, you know, I did a couple guest sets on the Scam page.
Right.
And from what Sujit tells me, he's like, I love that you just love to DJ, because I guess you know, I'm always pretty smiley and bubbly on my stream, which is it's genuine. I'm kind of usually
Yeah,
full
it
of a lot
comes
of
across
energy.
genuine. It doesn't come across
I am
like
happy.
you don't seem like
Yeah.
a game show host or something like, "Hi, we're here." You know, you seem like you're being yourself.
That would be kind of
you're
funny
just
though.
like, welcome to
Like
the
I'm
DJ
picturing that.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess there is a clear difference between like,
Right.
you know, putting on the face for an entertainment show and then like
Right.
really just having a good time. So I am
Yeah.
having a good time, and I think that's something he noticed. So I would say Twitch definitely put me in Sujit's mind for Scam Artist, and you know, and then he asked me to be on Scam, and now I'm on Scam. So aside from that, though, I think I've gotten a couple of like brand things, you know, where you do a couple streams branding this product,
Right.
or, you know, hey, I use this or whatever, and
Yeah.
then getting paid or free product or whatever. So that's kind of
Hmm.
helped in that regard as well. Yeah, and then there's people who book me or wanted to book me just because based on my Twitch, like, or I'll
Right.
post recaps on my Instagram and they're like, oh, like, how do we book you or whatever. So Twitch has helped a
Right.
lot, like a lot.
That's great. And as far as being on Scam, do you like having a booking agent and work? I know you've been on other booking agencies or management companies on and off, and you also probably have done your own thing and, you know, to build yourself up to that point. But do you like having a booking agent or working with Scam or just working with booking agents as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a couple different ones that didn't really work out, but I do like being on Scam. I love, well, first of all, I already knew to get into these major clubs, generally speaking, you're gonna have to be on the label. You have to,
Right.
like, they're not gonna, unless you happen to know the owner or the booker or whatever. It's really hard to get into major clubs that you want to get into without being on some sort of booking agency. And so I knew that, but you can't just like go ask to be on a booking agency and then you're on it. You know what I mean? You kind of has to work itself out and you get on there.
Right.
So,
I know. I've been trying to, like, I had this conversation with someone a week or two ago, and he's like, well, how do you get the agent? Like, I need the agent. And I was like, well, it doesn't work like that. It's not like
you can't just
walk
go
into
write an
Guitar Center and
interview.
you're like, where are the agents at? Oh, aisle 3. Great. I'm going to pick one up. Like, I think it has to
Exactly.
work out. You have to have the right synergy with the people, and they'll notice you or you'll notice them, you know, and because you could have an agent and nothing could happen. It could suck, you know,
100%.
if they have nothing to work with on their side, like they have to sell you. They're a salesperson, you know? And so a lot of times people think, oh, they'll just plug me in. But it's like they have to sell you to even plug you in a lot of the time. So you have to give them something to utilize, right?
This is like such a good topic to bring up because many people, and this is just kind of across the board, booking agencies. So it's not even being specific, but a lot of
Yeah,
people
that's
will
what
get,
I'm saying, just as a whole.
yeah,
Yeah.
people will get on an agency and think, okay, cool, I'm set. I'm going to be booked. I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to get all these crazy clubs because I'm just on this agency. That's not really how it works. You have to give them
Right.
something to sell.
Yeah.
And if you're not giving them anything to sell, they it's hard to sell you because, while they might have the connection to get you into a certain venue, there's still 1,000 other DJs that they might want to book over this DJ who
Right.
really they're like, well, show me something, and they're like, if you don't got anything to show. That's why I always tell DJs, get on Twitch or make your TikTok
Exactly.
start popping or post more
Yeah.
content on Instagram. Do something. You have to be, there's so much content and so many people doing stuff. And people like to complain that they hate that it's not just DJing anymore, it's all this other stuff. Nobody likes it, but that's what it is. So you can either complain about it or you can get on the train and get these gigs, So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to give some content for them to sell you with. So yeah, there's people who are on the same agency that might have a horrible experience and then that might have an amazing experience. But it's all
Right.
what you put in to get out. You
It's
have
so
to kind of
true.
put in work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody likes to generalize, like, oh, this one sucks, this one's good, this is that. It's like everyone's
Yep.
gonna have a completely different experience, and as
Yep.
much as you put in, you're gonna get out, whether you have a booking agent or not. That's the truth, and that's what people need to realize. And doing Twitch, every little thing you do can all add up. It's all like cumulative too. Like, it's not just like, yes, of course you'll see certain people make one song and then blow up, but that's like winning the lottery and comparing yourself to something. Like, you have to keep putting in work from all the angles. Like, I'm doing this, I'm DJing out, I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing, and then your
Yeah.
agents can work with that stuff. You never know who's going to see you in where and in what capacity.
Or what time those dots are going to connect. And like you said,
Yeah.
sometimes somebody gets the one hit wonder and they blow up. But who's to say they didn't throw a ton of other things out that they did that didn't get noticed?
Right.
That's just the thing that got noticed.
Yes.
And so it's all about just putting like I said with Twitch, I put everything I've got to Twitch, like everything. Like I'm like, what else can I do? Like here's everything that I could possibly do with the time that I have. And here you go. Here, it's like this is all I could do, right? So with anything, like with DJing, here, put content, even if you think it's shit. I mean, don't like make something that is shitty and like put it out. If you just genuinely are like happy with it, put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just do stuff. It's a lot of work to make it in anything that's creative these days. So that's why I feel like we really have to use all the different outlets, all the social media that you can. It's a pain in the ass. Not everybody wants to do all that stuff, but that's just what it is now. So,
and I feel like you get caught up in your own head of like you know how much you post and how much you put out and all the different things. So to you, you're like, oh, maybe I'm doing enough or I'm doing too much. But other people have their own life and are doing a million other things that are getting bombarded from every angle. So really, you should post and put things out more than you think, because it's going to get lost in the sauce, like eventually,
muddied
right
out.
away.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to keep like being consistent with like this podcast. I got to do it every week. Your Twitch streams, you got to do it all the time. If you start falling off, you start falling off the radar of people, and then new things start coming in, and you have to like keep that consistency, make sure it's fresh, make sure, stuff like that. Like, and then you have to make it fresh for your own self to feel good about it. Like you said, where you play the different genres, so you keep yourself interested in even what you're doing yourself.
Yeah, I would say like the number one thing you said out of all that is consistency. Whatever it is, even if, you put out 10 pieces of content and like 9 of them are like on the scale of 1 to 10, 3s and 4s, and then you got 1 10-piece, you still put out 10 pieces of content. So that's cool. Like, just keep putting out content. And then the more you do, it's practice. The more you put out content, the more you're getting feedback, the more you realize what people want, and the more you can satisfy and get more followers, views, get paid, all that shit. So get more gigs, whatever you're aiming for. Content is king these days. So put that shit out.
It's true.
Whatever you got. Podcast, Instagram videos, TikTok.
Exactly. I agree. And I think you're great at that. I mean, we haven't even mentioned that you're on SiriusXM every week, right? On Globalization Radio, Pitbull station.
Yeah. Shout out to Edwin. Thank you for putting me on Sirius. It's been 6 years now or so. Every week I'm on channel 13, 6 p.m. PST. Every
That's
Thursday.
Great.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. And that's been going for over 6 years, right?
Yes. Which is a great outlet to kind of connect with other people you'd never know. There is actually, there's been a couple times that people in real life have mentioned or have, I wouldn't say recognize me because it's not like you see my face, but they'll see my name and be like, are you the same VTECH that's on SiriusXM? I'm like, yeah, I am. What's up? So that's kind of a cool little
Yeah.
thing that makes you smile when people, because you're like, somebody's listening to me. Like, yay. So
Yeah, and,
it's
and
just
I
a
mean,
nice,
SiriusXM is huge. You're all over the place, so people could be listening for. Is it only USA or is it the whole world?
I want to say it's USA and Canada, but
Yeah.
you could definitely
Okay.
correct me on that. But I think it's
No, I
US and
think you're
Canada.
right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's huge. What's your focus with that show? Is it like a 1 hour mix show of party stuff?
Yeah, it's basically just open format, but radio stuff, the newest stuff, the newest trends. It's kind of a
Yeah.
little bit Latin influence. It's Pitbull, so
Right.
definitely like. But I would say they don't force that on anybody, which is kind of a good thing because it gives everybody room to breathe and be their own type of DJ. Granted, you are still
Yeah.
playing radio music, radio hip hop, radio dance music, radio mostly everything, but you're able to get away with what like little things that make you stand out, whatever it is that you do. Yeah, they're not choking you too tight on any sort of genre, but it's
Right.
great. Yeah, I love it. It's a nice way too to keep up on new music because we're obviously on email chains and here's the new TikTok trends, here's the newest hits that we need. Here you got to hit these tracks. Bad Bunny, we got this new track. Listen to this.
Right.
This is killing it in Colombia. This is the new Latin shit. So,
Yeah.
it's a great way to stay up to tempo on new stuff as well
That's
as
cool.
old stuff.
What have you
Yeah.
learned from that? Like being on the radio or doing that mix show every week for over 6 years? Like, how do you keep that fresh or keep having fun with it, or any other things you've learned from it?
I would say I went through a lull for a second where I was like, this is really exhausting to make this mix every week. I would say it was around the 3 or 4 year mark, not like around 4 years. I remember thinking like, do I want to continue doing this? Because it was kind of hard to keep up. It's every week and you're making a mix. And when you
Yeah.
make one mix for like a gas station, you fucking kill it. You go hard on the mix, you make sure it's
Right.
top notch. You're going to do all your tricks and bells and
Oh my
whistles.
God. I'm always stressing out when they ask me to do that. I'm like, sure, let's do it. And then the week comes. I'm like, oh my God, what's
Yeah,
happening? So I
exactly.
can't
And
imagine
so,
every week for 6 years.
yeah, you're definitely not making like your best mix every week. Don't get me wrong, I still give a quality mix every week, but
Of
many
course.
times I have to make it on Ableton because I'm flying, I'm out of town, I can't make a live
Yeah.
mix. So I'm always going to give a quality mix, but there are some weeks where it'll just be, I'm just playing songs. There you go. Here's
Yeah.
the content. So,
Right.
I had to finally find my comfort zone for that to be able to mentally be able to do it every week and be happy doing it. And I found that. So it was kind of like right after that lull, I found my footing and I was like, okay, I can do this every week. And so here we are
Right.
still 6 years later, 7 years, seven,
Oh my God.
six. I'm
7.
like, I can't
Damn.
remember if it started in 2015 or 16. You could ask Edwin, but whenever they started
Right.
the station, that's when I was on
Oh, that's amazing. Since the beginning. I
it.
mean, that's a testament to your DJing and to everything. So that's huge. Congrats.
Thanks. I
Blood
enjoy
out.
playing on there.
Blood out.
I'm gonna have to learn to say it just like him. Blood out.
Blood out. I'll have him on here one day. I'll be like, hey, I'm doing this for you, dude.
But
And so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Were you saying something?
no, I was gonna say that's sorry, just it's a little bit off subject, but
Yeah.
the fact that you have sound bites and stuff, that was another thing that helped me on Twitch was getting GIFs and sound bites and
Yeah.
just anything where I didn't constantly have to be on film the whole time. I'm like,
Right.
if I need to like break to do anything, I'm gonna go get a glass of water, I gotta go pee or something, put something on. So I would just play, little movie clips or whatever was appropriate for the genre that I'm playing. I would
Yeah.
have so many different scenes and just different GIFs that go with it. So I just think that helps. It reminded me of it. Sorry, off subject.
Yeah, no. It's true. No, honestly, please say it all you want, because that's the kind of stuff I think people listening to that want to get into Twitch or want to get better at it. Those are little things that we take for granted now after doing Twitch for a long time. But before you realize it, like I remember the first time I realized, oh wait, I can just have little TikTok videos or a sort of a screen with a TV and a graphic going if I want to like you said, go get a drink, go to the bathroom, walk around, just take myself off camera and just
Yeah,
DJ
like not
and
be
not have
looked at for
someone
a minute.
analyzing my face or my fingers or
Right.
something. You know what I mean? It's like commenting on every little thing I'm doing. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. I had to build up like same thing, like be able to put graphics up there or something that would show, so I could be like, okay, let me get off this screen, but I still want to DJ.
Yeah. It gets exhausting, especially because I don't do, Bella Fiasco 9 hour sets, which she's just a goddess for doing that long. That's insane. But I
She
will
doesn't do that still, does she?
I'm not sure. She took a little break for a minute. I think she was visiting family and stuff out of, I think in the Philippines or something. But when she
Oh
came
yeah.
back, she's streaming again, but I'm not sure how long her sets are lately. But she's been known though to do these crazy long sets, which I think is beast.
Oh
So
my
cool.
God, it's
But
crazy.
I would say mine on average are around 4 hours, but my rave capes tend to go like 7 hours because I'm just
Oh my
having fun. I
God.
have so much music where I'm like, I don't get to play any of this shit anymore. I'm literally playing like Benassi tracks from 2010, like some Fetty Legrand, whatever, just fun stuff that you don't get to play too much anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, went off subject again. Hold
Yeah.
on.
No, it's
What
all
was the
good.
point of what I was talking about? I got excited talking
We were
about dance
talking
music.
about Twitch and being able to put different graphics and go with the themes and
Yeah,
stuff. But
totally.
so and back to the like Pitbull and globalization. The other thing that you do with Pitbull or is that you've opened for him at some of his concerts, right?
Yeah, so I've done the ones here in Vegas a couple times.
Nice.
Um,
What was
like I
that
think I did
like?
it last year. It was awesome because they're usually sold out. I mean, it's Pitbull.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. But I mean, I had a little experience because I opened for Jordan Sparks on a couple US
Oh, okay.
tours. And so it was usually like radio music festivals. So there's like thousands of people. They're obviously there for all these artists, but I get to go up there and do my thing because I'm opening for her. So, well, I wouldn't really like open for her. She would be like an act. And then I would do like a little 5 minute thing and then intro her and all this stuff. So it's like there was something about that that got me a little more comfortable playing in front of these, 10, 15,
Yeah.
20,000 crowds.
Right.
But yeah, I opened for Pitbull a couple times here in Las Vegas, and it was cool. It was one, a really cool experience. Two, great on your resume. It's like, hey, I opened for Pitbull.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's
Totally.
just fun. Good photo ops. It just looks good,
Oh
So
yeah.
good
That's
times,
so cool.
definitely.
That's amazing. And you also, among the million other things you do, is music production, right? You produce music, you make edits, you make like all types of custom things, right? What's some stuff you're working on now, or that you've done, or what kind of stuff do you like to make?
So before the pandemic, I was producing a lot more, and like I would mainly make a ton of stuff that was just for my personal use. I put a couple remixes, I think, on DJCITY or something, but nothing too much.
Right.
And it wasn't really like my focus. I liked doing it, and I love to make. What my thing was making songs that generally were hard to play in the club, more bouncy and more clubby, so that you could play them
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
club because they were hits, but they weren't exactly club ready.
Right.
So I would do that stuff, but I'm one of those people that was always like self-conscious of my production. So I'm like, I'm gonna make it for myself and use it because I like it, but I don't want to like put it out there because I'm scared of rejection. But so and then my fiance, he was gonna remodel our studio, which is because he's an audio engineer.
Oh,
So
okay.
he got all kinds of toys and stuff. He works with like musicians and whatnot, and often gets deals where he can get cool stuff and
Nice.
synthesizers and just fucking cool stuff. So we've got a
Amazing.
really dope studio. But he tore it down because he was going to set it back up. But then he went on tour, so it was just torn down. And
Right.
by no means do you need a studio to produce. You can just have your laptop and stuff. But it kind of got pushed to the wayside when Twitch happened because I was so busy doing graphic design
Yeah. There's
and
only
actually
so much
streaming,
time. Right. That's a lot.
right?
Yeah.
So I put it to the side. But I just recently started dipping back into it because he set it back up finally. He got off tour and he's back home. So he set up the studio again. So I'm like, okay,
Nice.
let me get my feet back in the pool here because I really do enjoy producing music. And yeah, I definitely want to put some shit out again
Yeah.
because it's been a
Yeah, you
minute.
should. What kind of stuff do you like to focus on? Like dance music or
Dance
anything else?
music, yeah.
Yeah.
Dance, yeah, like more like house. So nothing like EDM-y really, just more
Yeah.
bouncy type house tracks. And definitely just trying to remix whatever's kind of already out so that I can play it in my sets in a different way.
Right.
And then oftentimes, like, see, my issue with producing is I am terrible at ending things. So I'll make thick parts of it, and then that's what I use for my sets but I don't want to put it out because it's not a whole song. It's just what I
Right.
need for like my sets, and that's
Yeah,
what I
I
have an issue with
understand.
is finishing shit. So
Ugh, that's like
oftentimes,
whatever. I think that's probably one of the number one things all producers have a problem with, is the finishing, is the end, and actually just being able to decide when it's done, that because you could work on it for an infinite amount of time, really.
Yeah, and then there's so much there's certain record pulls where like I'll hear some remixes where I'm like, why is this even up? This is terrible. So I didn't want to like be putting out remixes where people would be thinking that of my music. Even so, just another layer of what it's going to hold me back to be putting stuff out. But
Right.
and it's saturated the market with like remixers and DJs who are so good that I'm like, let me practice some more, before I actually
True.
start submitting my stuff. So that's
I
why. And
will
then
say
also just
though,
being busy with everything.
yeah, there's a lack of women making like DJ edits, I feel like, unless I'm just tripping.
Yeah.
But I just
No,
feel
you're not
like,
tripping. You're not.
okay,
We should be
that
making a lot more.
I do feel like, because there are amazing women producers and songwriters and remixers, and I play a lot of their stuff, but I feel like making just kind of the standard DJ edits, there aren't many.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of
going
what I
on.
like to make. So I need to start finishing stuff and putting it out. And now that my studio is set back up, and like Twitch is a little bit more streamlined, I don't have to put so much work into that. I can actually focus on other things now, production
Yeah,
being one of them. So I definitely want to get back into that. And like I said, I like making DJ edits, stuff for DJs to use
yeah,
in the club because I'm a DJ, an open format DJ who needs these things.
right,
So,
yeah,
because most women producers are EDM producers, tech house. So they're making what they make to play at these festivals and stuff. This is not for DJs really.
right.
So, yeah, DJ
Do
edits,
it.
girls, let's get on it, ladies.
Come on, let's do it. And
Right? Like it's all easy. Just do it.
just do it. Come on.
Right.
Well, you seem to be able to do a lot of things, so I'm sure that's something you're good at as well.
A lot of YouTube
But
videos, lots and lots of YouTube videos.
Going back to some of the stuff we were saying in the beginning about like your Vegas gigs and getting, you moved there 9 years ago, and you've honestly done a lot of stuff within that time, especially counting a pandemic that shut everything down for a couple of years
Yeah.
within those 9 years. Do you have any tips for people out there that are, let's say, moving to Vegas or moving to a new city that want to get gigs? Like, how did you go about even trying to DJ in any of these places when you first got there? Or did you already have the connection, like you said, you were working with Tao Group before you moved?
So the random way that I got involved with Tao Group was by chance. Since I'm from LA, I knew a lot of just LA people and people who throw clubs out there and whatnot. First of all, my answer to that is network the fuck out
Okay.
of everything. You have to be there. And
Yeah.
you could go and nothing could happen like 100 times, but then the one time something happens. You have to network. That's like my number one thing.
And
But with
just
Tao,
to clarify, I think I know what you're saying, but just for people listening, you mean go to the place that you want to
yeah,
DJ.
go to the place and don't
Literally
like,
be there.
yeah, usually it helps if you know somebody that's there. Don't be a clingy asshole. Don't be that guy that's like being too much. Just be there and
Yes.
let it all happen organically. It doesn't have to, you don't have to like network the fuck out of every night. You just kind of got to be
Yeah.
there and stuff happens or doesn't happen. But that's just part of what networking is and DJing is. You don't want to be annoying. You don't want to bug. Definitely don't go asking for things. Just show face. Go to the dinner. You kind of got to do the after hours things once in a while. It's like there's just like a little, it's hard to explain, I guess, but because some people think networking means go there and give out your business card to every single person you meet and hi, I'm so and
Right.
so and let me play your clubs. It's not like that. It's
Yeah.
just
And they
making
expect
connections.
instant gratification or instant something happening. But like you said, sometimes there's places that I went 50 times before I even had the conversation about someone of even working together or doing anything, And a lot
Yeah.
of times it was out of genuine support or genuine wanting to hear the other DJs. And you have to soak up that environment to even know that you could be a valuable asset to them or bring something to the table rather than just like, yo, this seems dope. Let me be in here. I'll kill it. And it's like, no, like go hear all the other DJs that they do like. Go see what the vibe is. Go see what happens on multiple nights so you can see different crowds and really
Yeah.
you're doing your research so you're a knowledgeable person that they can trust in the long run rather than just like,
Yeah.
what's up? I'm a DJ. How do I get in? You know, like
I'd
you
kill
said,
this
being
shit.
annoying.
I fucking smash this room.
Yeah, or
Book
just like
me.
asking for shit or being annoying. So I think it's so true what you're saying. There's like a fine line between all of it, between being persistent and being annoying and being networky and being just a normal person. But that's the way. That's what I always tell people too, is exactly what you said.
Yeah. I almost don't even want to use the word network because people like will perceive it differently. And then it's like,
Right.
no, I didn't mean go do what you just did. I meant,
Yes.
man, if
Yeah.
I could like add up the amount of hours that I went out and just existed in a room with these people that I want to be, you know,
Same.
associating with without having anything happen, without saying anything, without
Yeah.
pushing anything. I mean, shoot, I could just go on for days. But
Yep.
it's just the magic happens once in a long while at a late night. You were at a club and then they went to the strip club and you got invited. So you're like, I'm going to the strip club. All right, here we go. And I'm not saying if you're not comfortable in strip clubs, I'm not saying you have to go to the strip clubs. It just sometimes the magic happens at like not the event that you went to. You know, you might go to dinner after late night, you know, pho or something. And
Right.
now you're sitting at a table face to face. And that's sometimes where the magic happens. And
And
I
these
think
are-
I brought up
and
strip
for-
club because I'm in Las Vegas. And that's
I was going to say, for people listening, these are very Vegas after
Yeah,
the
true.
club things. Going to a strip club at 4 a.m., probably not happening in a lot of cities. Vegas, happening. Going to pho, eating soup with nightclub people while the sun's coming up,
Yeah.
very Vegas.
See, I'm a little
I've
bit,
done all
yeah,
of these things.
it's going to be biased because I'm in Las Vegas. This is what people do after. And this is a 24-hour city. So there's always things
Right.
open. There's an after-hours spot, after-hours restaurants.
But
And, like,
that's the
strip
place
clubs in
people
Vegas-
want to play. Yeah, that's where people want to
Exactly.
play is Vegas, and those are the things you got to do. And also,
That's what
don't
you gotta
get
do.
too fucked up, like
Oh, for sure.
blown
Yeah, that's a
out,
given.
just the most. You're just nobody wants to be with you after that. You know what I mean? So you gotta like,
No.
yes, if you're gonna drink with everyone, that's fine, but be able to like be a normal person and hold your own, and go to the
Yeah.
after place and not make a fool of yourself. And
Know your
throw up
limits
on
for
everybody.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause there's people I know that can actually get shit-faced and be cool. Like, they're
Right.
fucking smashed and they're cool. And then there's people who have like 4 shots and they're like being an idiot. And you're like,
Yeah.
I've seen it
Yeah.
happen, and it's cringy for the person watching, and obviously for the person who's doing it, you know. So
Yes.
don't be that guy, you know. Like, just know your limitations and how much you can or can't drink, and just
Yeah.
just be mature about it. But have fun. I mean, Vegas is Vegas. It's still going to be people doing idiot things. Like, we've all gone
Yeah.
crazy here, drank a lot, whatever. So it's not like you have to be, stiff stew or whatever. Just like, don't be an idiot. That's all, I guess.
Stiff
Know your
stew
limits.
sounds like a Garbage Pail Kid or something.
I don't know. You get it.
Yes. No, totally get it.
So no, I feel like I've always loved DJing enough to never get discouraged by rejection to the point of quitting. That really never crossed my mind. Like, it genuinely never has crossed my mind to quit,
That's
because I felt
great,
like I
yeah.
was, like, I never felt like so defeated that I just were like, well, this is not for me.
Right.
I've always just found other outlets. If this didn't work out, okay, well, I still have these things. And I think that's the beauty of
Right.
building a career in DJing rather than getting lucky overnight because you knew the owner, you were a model turned DJ, you
Yeah.
got these festivals after 2 weeks of DJing, because that's the kind of things I think where if you get a hard, a rejection or something, it could really bring you down. When you've built up your career over 15, 20 years, and you have all these things that you've done, accolades, just things, it's like you only fall down like a little step, like in your mind or whatever, because you're like, okay, this didn't work out, but it's okay, I have all these other things that I could focus on. So
Right.
I don't get discouraged to the point of quitting or anything like that at this point. Or not
That's
even when I
good.
first started. Especially when you're first starting, you're so hungry, you're like, nothing could make me not want to do this.
Right.
So yeah.
That's true. That's true.
It was, I really fell in love with it. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I know. Cause some people, you get hit with some stuff and they're like, oh God, I don't know if I can do this anymore, or something, or different
Yeah.
things,
I mean, maybe the
you know.
pandemic when we were like, fuck, I got to figure something
Yes.
else out because I'm not playing any gigs anymore. But, here
I
comes
know.
Twitch. So
Yeah,
that
but
was
yeah,
the
it
thing
seems
I
like you
figured out.
really gravitated towards Twitch. Plus, you've got your other skills and graphic design and so many things, that you're able to fall back on. What about like outside of DJing? Like, do you do anything, or you just love DJing so much you're 24 hours a day DJing?
That's it. That's all I do is DJ 24
That's
hours a day.
it. Nothing else. Like, you have
No, I
other
mean,
interests or things you like to do, or
yeah, well, I mean, I think like now that pre-pandemic, before I was doing Twitch, I do remember when I was DJing at night and I was like, this is even before I came to Vegas actually, because oh, that was another thing. I wanted to tell the story of how I started with Tao Group. I'll tell it after this.
okay.
So I remember I'd be playing nights. You know, I didn't live in Vegas, so I wasn't playing pool parties. There's not really anywhere else besides Vegas or like Miami or something.
Yeah.
So that's when I went to school for graphic design. Cause I'm like, I'm not doing anything during the day and I feel like I'm wasting time doing nothing. Like when I could be doing something because I
Yeah.
haven't had a real job since 2011. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, I wasn't working during the day. It was just DJing only. And so I went to school and that kind of filled my day up. Okay, cool, I'm doing this. And then I got in with Intel Group and then I moved to Vegas and started doing all that. So then my days were more filled because there's pool parties and stuff. I finished
Right.
school out here in Vegas. So
Okay.
but aside from like the graphic design and DJing, that's pretty much all I did. I mean, aside from like fun stuff like traveling, um, I
Yeah.
mean, normal stuff. There's not really any other like, I mean, I draw. Art was my first love.
Right. Oh yeah, I
So I
saw
did
you
that.
post a really cool video of you, like kind of a time
I
lapse
haven't drawn
drawing
anything in a
thing.
while, and I had a dream, and I was like, I'm going to draw Celia Cruz.
Yeah, it was
So
great.
that's where that came from. But yeah,
And
that
you do
drawing,
that.
I definitely do that.
That's cool. You do it on Twitch, you said sometimes too, right?
So how I incorporated it with Twitch is like, I'm not going to sit there and try to like take 4 hours to draw an actual shaded likeness drawing, you know. It's what I do is it's for people who gift subs or a certain amount of, you know, bits or whatever. I have a dry erase board that I have dry erase markers and I have these ad lib jars. So I'll dip in the ad lib jars and it's like an adjective, a noun, and some sort of action. So it'll say like, you know, a surprised apple washing a car. So then I got to draw a surprised apple washing a car. But I pick it on screen. It's just these popsicle sticks with words on them. I pick it on the screen and I show it to them. This is what I'm drawing, y'all. And then I have a camera on the
Amazing.
whiteboard and I draw it in about the length of a song or so. So about 4 minutes, 3, 4 minutes. And it's fun because they can watch me draw it. But I've been recently trying to move that to an iPad so they can actually see a flat screen through Procreate so I can draw on there and make it more quality. But
Yeah.
that's where that came about. Because I wanted to, like I said, throw everything I got at Twitch. What else can I do? What else can I put on here? And that was just
Right.
an idea I had.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's great. What about your influences? Like when you started to get into DJing and started noticing, you know, you said Tiesto. Were there other people that you looked up to, or maybe that you knew that you looked up to in the DJ world?
So what initially got me into DJing was going to raves and watching those DJs like Benani
Right.
and Tiesto. And
Okay.
then once I remember my first open format gig. So what had happened was when they started kind of cracking down in LA on little raves that were being thrown, you know,
Yeah.
they were really cracking down. So all of my little backyard party raves and warehouse raves and stuff started
Yeah.
drying up. So I'm like, I think I have to start doing open format to still DJ because I love to
Yeah.
DJ. But I had no experience playing hip hop or anything radio. I was like, I don't really know how to get into this world. My first gig was this little shout out to my homie Mark. He gave me this gig. He did, you know, a lot of at the time, they probably still do them now, but restaurants will be a restaurant during the day, little nightclub at night, kind
Yeah.
of turn into it. So there's this place in Rolling Heights in California called Coconut Bay or Banana Bay, something like that. And it was just a little like a Thai or Vietnamese restaurant during the day, and they turned into a club at night. And it was my first open format gig, and I practiced. And at the time, I used to work at the bank. I was a bank teller. This is like
Yeah.
2000 and like I don't know, 10 or 9. And
Right.
I remember no, even earlier, like 2008. Anyways,
Yeah.
I was like so nervous to play my first open format gig that I was like gonna throw up type like nervous. And that never happens to me. Even now, I can be nervous about something, but not as nervous as I was that one time. So I felt so out of my element. But
Right.
once I played that gig and I did okay, I started watching other DJs who played open format and getting familiar. And Tina T was one of the first women that I came across that she was obviously phenomenal. And
Yeah, she's
come to
great.
know her now, she's an amazing person. She was like really actually so nice back then too, without even knowing her. Because I emailed her
Right.
on MySpace and I was like, "Can you give me some advice?" And she very
That's great.
graciously did give me advice. She's super. I love Tina. She's amazing
Oh
and
yeah, me
obviously a
too. She's
phenomenal
the best.
DJ.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and
agree.
then I would go to uh like just try to see other DJs. I remember who was like the names that I thought of then. I remember AM2. I was like enamored with how he mixed fucking everything, and I was like, dang,
Right.
that's cool. Like at the time, to me, that felt very difficult. I'm like, I don't like. How do you possibly mix in this with that? So that's my first experience. He was my first experience hearing somebody mix like that. Not that there wasn't
Right.
other DJs who were doing that, but that's just who I first heard. And now there's
Yeah.
guys like you, Four Color Zach, Scene. These are all DJs I look up to because you guys are just so, first of all, technically good and skilled, and then also your knowledge of music and the way that you guys put it together is just fucking cool. So
Oh, thanks.
y'all are ones that I look up to, yeah. And whenever I hear Four Color Zach here in Vegas, I'm there because he's so good.
I know. Yeah. His
So good.
energy's great. He's so super creative, just funny.
Yeah,
Like he knows how
yeah.
to really
And now he's on
incorporate it
Scam, so
all. Oh
it's
yeah. Got to
dude.
have the scam connection.
Understatement of the year. Yeah, he definitely can incorporate. He's probably my favorite DJ, if not like top three. But
Yeah, same.
yeah. So yeah, guys like you who can just mix everything and under the sun and do it well. Those are the people I
Uh,
look up to because
Amazing.
it's
Well,
hard.
thanks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love that's my favorite kind of stuff too.
yeah.
What about like lately? Is there any music you've been playing in the clubs that's been working or at like events? I feel like someone hit me up recently like, "What's the big songs right now?" And I'm like, "The same ones from last year." Like I'm
Yeah.
still. It's
I was
weird. There's
listening to
no like
the
huge ones like
yeah,
lately.
I was listening to the Road podcast about
Oh yeah, that song of the summer episode.
yeah, and they all had different things. Somebody said like Lizzo's, and I was like, nah. And then somebody said something
No.
else, and then I
I
was
don't
like,
think I've
nah.
ever
And
played. I've maybe played a remix of that song here and there, but I feel like Song of the
yeah,
Summer has to be that you have to play it at everywhere, even from a corporate gig to a nightclub gig type song, you know?
totally. Or like, so I would say last summer's was Pepas. Obviously it was
Yeah.
so huge. I remember
I
hearing
feel
in
like even
Miami.
this summer it was just as big almost.
Oh yeah, because it's a classic now, but at the time it was
Yeah.
brand new, so it was like
Right.
the song.
Sure.
Now I forgot which one of the guys on that podcast brought it up, but Titi me preguntó with Bad Bunny, that song.
Yeah.
I feel like that's if I had to pick one, I'd be like that sounds more like it's in the ballpark of song of the summer. Because I mean, Bad
Yeah.
Bunny could like burp on the mic and people would be like, "Oh my God, this is
I know.
classic."
It's ridiculous.
So I would say yeah, that one, but I don't think that's what you asked me. I think I got off subject
Oh,
again.
I was
That
just
tends
saying
to happen.
any new music in like clubs
Oh
that's
yeah.
working for you in clubs and events or something.
Yeah, I feel like I could go into that Bad Bunny request thing, but that's tired and been talked about a ton. Well, obviously Bad Bunny stuff works. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like people can't get enough. Like you
I
could
know.
play it and then
I'm
bring it
like,
back, play
I'll
another Bad
play a
Bunny.
bunch of his songs. Yeah, I don't care. I just want people to have fun.
Yeah,
So
I actually didn't mind it. It's only when people get like pushy about it. It's like the fuck
right,
out of here. Like I don't mind
yeah,
requests. I genuinely don't. I
same.
don't like
If you
people who
talk to
feel
me the right
entitled to
way, it's all
requests.
good. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
people
how
who
you
come
go
at you.
about it.
Yeah. See, it's like because when I think about it, when I think, do I actually mind requests? No. But if you come at me thinking like I am obligated to play your request, no, it's not going to happen. And now
Yeah,
you've pissed me off. Go away.
exactly. Yeah. Now you're never getting it.
So, yeah, but I would say, like you were saying, most of the songs that hit this summer are the same ones that were last summer. And it's been a nice way to, I felt like I've brought back a lot of classics that are maybe 2010, 12, 13s that have kind of, because once in a while I'll go deep into my crates and clean up shit
Yeah.
and reorganize. And you see songs, you're like, damn, that would probably hit in the clubs right now. I'm gonna
Oh,
play,
that's
you
just
know,
what I've been going through in the past few weeks too. I brought back so many songs from
yeah,
2012, between 2000 even 9 to 2013. There's all these songs that now, first of all, like the 21, 25-year-old, crowd never heard loud in a club. You know, they were like 10 years old. So it's like,
but they know the songs. So they're going to be like,
they know the song,
but
to hear it loud with the bass going through their body and like, you know, it's just a different feeling. So they, you know, even Avicii and like stuff like that, like you could bring it back, and the old Calvin Harris and those kind of things.
Yeah. That stuff definitely works. And I feel like us DJs who've kind of been in the game for a while, you know how you used to get away with opening the clubs with like the early 2000s hip hop and like, you know, yes, there's still the classics that you can drop that everybody's going to know. But generally speaking, you kind of got to like lay light on the early 2000s stuff, because these kids who are partying now don't even know that shit. Like the early shit they're going to hear is like 2009, 10, 11, like that's the stuff they're going to recognize. And so that should be the early stuff that you're even opening with. I mean, it's a case by case basis. If you see an older crowd, you're going to play what you play. But I mean, I've noticed in Vegas clubs, especially too, I played Senorita, Justin Timberlake, and I saw these girls at this table. This is a Tao, Las Vegas. I was playing Senorita, which, I mean, who doesn't, like, to me that song, yes, it's a little old, but it didn't feel that old. And now listen, you know, and these girls go, I just see them from my peripheral vision. The girls go like, what is this? Like, what is this song? You know, what is this? And I was like, oh, it hurt. You know, I was like, dang, is that really where we're at now? And they were obviously very young. They maybe looked 21, 22.
Well, that's the thing. That song probably came out 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't like playing Biggie or something. So in my head, it didn't feel like that old. And now I'm like, wait, that is that old. So I really have to, you know. But like the stuff that they came out in 2010, 11, 12, that's definitely stuff that hits for these kids who are now in their early 20s partying, the Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
Is that what their names are?
So. Yeah.
Yeah. But it hits
Z.
even for other people our age that are just, you know, enjoying being in the club. And these are all jams that they heard on like whether the radio or the clubs at the time, you know, so all that stuff works still. Yeah.
I asked the internet if they had any questions for you. I have a few if I can ask you from Instagram and stuff. Let's see. And if you don't want to answer any of them, all good. Or some of them you may have answered already. It's not that many, but let's see. We got SWSTEF. I don't know if that's SW Steph or something.
I don't know. Yeah. I have to struggle with screen names sometimes.
I think so. She said, do you have any advice for women who are trying to make it in the DJ industry?
Okay. I feel like this subject, like, has been asked of us so many. No, I understand the need for women empowerment because generally speaking, we don't get the same level of whatever the fuck as men.
Right.
But in my head, I hate being like this subject so much because I'm fucking tired of talking about just women against men in the industry.
Yes.
Like,
no, I agree with you. Like, that's why I try to, even with these interviews, a lot of time I try to approach it. To me, I'm not like, oh, today I'm interviewing a female DJ or a woman DJ.
Thank you for not
oh my God,
that,
today I'm talking to a man. Let me make sure I get my man questions going. You know, like I'm just like, we're all DJs. We're all music people. We're all into different aspects of this whole world that we all love. Yeah. And so to me, I do, and no offense to whoever asked that question.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to say really quick.
And I'm happy that she did, so we can talk about this, because I feel like there is two sides of it, because sometimes it's like, oh, you're not doing enough women empowerment and you're not giving women enough shine. And I'm like, but then on the other hand, honestly, it's like, it's hard. And also the percentage, the amount of women that are in the industry, I think is less than men. So it gets to be hard to, you know, with the showcasing and who's on the bill. But at the same time, I understand both sides of it. But yes, like when I hear that question, I'm like, it's almost like goes back to the conversation of what we said. Go to the club and hang out and do the thing. You could be non-binary. You could be a woman. You could be a man. You could be anything. It doesn't matter what you are. You could be trans, you could be literally anything, and my advice for anybody trying to be the same approach. Exactly. Like, I don't think if a woman, it's not like, oh, well, you gotta wear this kind of shirt and then talk to them like this. Like, I think it really doesn't matter these days, and anybody that's putting a lot of emphasis on that is a little bit living in the past in a way, although there's but it is a bigger conversation. Like, for example, I do a lot of corporate events, or I do a lot of like these movie premieres and stuff. And more, I'll get hit up and they'll be like, do you know any women DJs that are good? And it's like, they only want a woman DJ. So I don't know how that plays into the conversation exactly, but you know, there's something that that is what some corporations are just looking for. But I think on the other side of things, of something like that, like, do you have advice for women trying to break in? I think you do the same thing as everybody else. But yeah, I'll let you finish speaking on it. But I'm
No,
glad to hear
yeah.
I'm not trying to give my, you know, but I'm glad to hear that you think like that as well.
Yeah, so I'm not naive to think that there aren't pros and cons with each gender in the industry, and I don't want to not be sensitive to any women who may have had a bad experience or think some way. This is just my personal opinion, because please don't be upset, anybody listening, if you're a woman and you've been fighting for women's rights and all this stuff. Like, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing for you, and I'm so glad that you do that. But at the same time, for me, I don't want to be thought of as a female DJ. I don't want to be booked on a gimmick. I don't want to be booked on an all-female lineup and then be advertised as such. I don't want to be booked on Princess Fridays or fucking, you know, just Women Empowerment Wednesdays. Like, that just drives me nuts, because I don't want to be singled out like that. I just want to be a DJ. I don't want to be like, you don't say, oh, we got an all-male lineup today. You know,
exactly. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so funny.
Fucking male DJs. Now it's kind of sounding like, is this like a, you know what? Right? It sounds ridiculous to say that. So why shouldn't it sound just as ridiculous to say that about women? And like, again, it's not to say or be insensitive to any woman who's been mistreated. Especially, it was worse in the past. I think now, like you mentioned, we're much like more forward. We're past that to an extent. There are still issues, none of which are in my like pay grade, because like sometimes like I know I can say and do things to help maybe, but I don't know what they are. And as of right now, I feel like to even speak about it separates us. And I don't want to separate women and men in the DJ industry. We're just DJs. We just do what we do. And there are some women who maybe do want to be considered a woman, female, and be like, you know, put into that genre. And there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I just want to be a DJ. Like, I don't want to be a female DJ. Right. You know,
that's how I look at you, and I've always looked at you. Yeah, I've looked at you just as a DJ, and we're all just in this together. I've never thought, oh, well, she's a girl DJ or a female,
or
DJ,
she's great for a girl. You know.
Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah, like that's to me, that's old school thinking, and that's just stupid, and it makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? And like, it's not like we're, you know, So. All right, that's interesting.
To answer that question, though, is for the person who asked, basically, I would tell you the same thing I would tell a guy, any DJ trying to come up. Obviously, first of all, be good, so that when you do get an opportunity, you can smash it. Yes. Make sure you hang out with the people whose positions you want to be in. Don't be an idiot and try to bug and, you know, here, take my stuff and listen to me and book me. Just be there, learn, understand what's going on, try to emulate the kind of people that you look up to and want to be like. And just learn, network, practice, all that good stuff. And it'll all make sense. It's kind of hard to just, you know, you're a DJ, you know, there's not a one size fits all. Here's what you should do. You know, it's kind of a generalization. This is how you should learn and grow and watch and figure out where you need to be. But that's for any male DJ, woman DJ. I don't care if you're LGBTQ plus, trans, if you're an alien, I don't care. This is for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of the advice you gave earlier was precisely just for that as well. So that's all smart stuff. All right, let's see. We got Gertie4357 that just said, how's Lawrence? I don't know what that means.
Actually, Lawrence
is that your cat?
Right here.
Oh. Oh, Lawrence. Oh, okay.
Okay, Lawrence is this little pig that I found. I was on. There you go. He's fine. First of all, I found him randomly. I was at Tiki Beach in Rhode Island. Actually watching Edwin was DJ. Edwin Phenom. DJ
Phenom.
I
saw you guys were out there for that with Vinny Vibe and stuff.
Yeah, nice. Vinny was there. And this little pig, he was just laying in the sand. He was just so cute. And I picked him up and I made him my little mascot. So his name's Lawrence. And he just kind of shows up on my stream. He goes on trips with me. That's where that is.
Oh
He's
my
just
God.
my new little mascot.
Lawrence.
You know the
Lawrence.
fucking vibes.
You know the
You
vibes,
know the
Lawrence.
fucking base.
All right, let's see. We kind of got this answer, but if there's anything else you want to add to it, Drum Crazy 936 asked, "What were some of her first gigs?"
Oh yeah. So those ones I was talking about, I would literally play these backyard raves, like literally backyards. I started to do some warehouse stuff, but first, picture this 17-year-old girl dragging my coffin and everything down the streets of Compton by myself in my little Hyundai Tiburon. Like when I think about it now, I'm that was so dangerous. Not only
Oh
because
my
some of the
God.
neighborhoods were a little questionable, but I literally have all my equipment. I'm
I
by
know.
myself. I'm young. It's expensive stuff, so it's like, because some gigs I would
Right.
just show up and play, but some I'd bring my equipment. And at that age, you're like, sure, I'll do this whole entire gig with all my equipment for $200. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh
Yeah.
my God. So I did a lot of parties in and around LA area. Just yeah,
Just
those were
doing it
my
like
my
that.
very first club gig was in Azusa, California, at the D Club. I don't think it's there anymore. Just one of
Okay.
those, random suburb city clubs. I
Yeah.
got booked to play before the club opened. My dad was there. I literally was club, my dad's there. There's nobody in there. It's just me and I'm playing a set. But I mean, it's cool to look
That's
back
great.
now and like, because it's a cute story. Like nobody should be
Yeah.
thrown to like the best gigs at first. Obviously, you need
No.
the experience of all these weird situations and gigs
Yeah.
and sets that maybe you wouldn't, look twice at now, but at the time it was like the best thing that ever happened to you. Remember, when you first see your name on a flyer, you're like, oh my God, I'm a real DJ. I'm on a flyer. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
those were some
That's
of my first
amazing.
gigs.
That's dope. That's amazing. All right, let's see. We got one more. I think the name is Fun. I don't know.
No worries, I'm sure.
FUNGUN Fun Guyana 814. Hard to read these Instagram names. How does she deal with the naysayers or the people that always have negative shit to say? Damn, you got a lot of people like
Um, I mean, I'm not sure in what regard this person means, but I mean,
that. Me either.
everybody's gonna have like. This is another subject I hate talking about haters. Like, who gives a shit about haters? Like, nobody gives a fuck. People
Right.
just do it for attention. They hate people who hate are miserable. Misery loves company.
Yeah.
I am. I think the older I get now, too, the more genuinely happy I am for my peers doing big things.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, in my early 20s, I was, we all go through like a phase of why not me? How come I can't get that gig? I'm just as good as that person, or whatever. I don't think like that at all anymore. I
Right.
I feel like I stay in my lane. I do what I know and how I can grow and become better. And when I see my peers who I would consider, we're on the same level, whatever, when they get this cool ass gig or they're doing big things, I'm like, fucking right on.
Yes.
So if there's people talking shit, like I don't care. Like, and I just focus on what is best for me, how I can improve myself and my career and my job and my life. So yeah, I don't think anybody should care about because the people talking shit, they're just miserable. That's
Yes.
like the only. I don't think
Totally.
anybody
They're
genuinely happy with.
miserable.
Yeah.
They're projecting, and like at the end of the day, it's you versus you. Like you said, you're the only one that can, be in control of your own stuff and build it up. And there's no point to even pay
Like you
attention to any of
can't
that.
exactly just keep doing you, and people are gonna talk shit regardless. Especially the more success you have, there's gonna be people like, oh my God, I can't believe this so and so person is doing this. Like, oh, they suck or whatever. And it's just like people are gonna say what they say. They want attention, so. That's how I
Yes.
deal with that. I just don't. I just say, okay, cool. Thanks for
Just
your
don't deal with
input.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
let
right.
them sit in their miserable hole of complaining and getting mad at pointless crap.
Exactly. It's just so. There's even people who troll on Instagram. I mean, on Twitch sometimes,
Right.
who will come in and just to get a rise out of people. And they'll be like, oh, like they'll just say some horribly derogatory things, and it's so terribly placed that it's almost comical. So
Yeah,
there's that. That makes it
exactly.
easier to deal with. Like you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
They
like
clearly came in with guns
ridiculous.
ablazing, and it's just
Yeah.
like, whatever.
And a lot
You
of
just ban
times
them.
they're like 11. You know what I mean? It's
Keyboard wires, net banging.
right. That's what I'm saying.
No
Like
names.
when I like we used to like crank call people and it was like before like trolling on the internet. You just like call some
Yeah.
weird number. Like I feel like that's what it is. Like little kids or just miserable adults that just are writing things. They're just unhappy or just trying to get attention or something.
Yeah, I think it's unhappy people honestly trying to if they see somebody happy, they don't like it because they're not happy.
Yeah,
So they try to say something to bring them down or
it's
put them in their
true.
place. Like if somebody, let's say, I've seen this in like a chat actually not too long ago. It was a girl, she was DJing and she's beautiful, and somebody was like, "Oh, you're only fucking, getting numbers because you're tits and ass." And it's just like
Right.
there's no need to say something like that to somebody. Like, first of all, that's not the case. She's a well-respected, great DJ, and it's just
Yeah,
like people will come in and say things like that just to make you feel some type of
totally.
way. So the
Yep.
more you can just flick people away, like bye, the easier everything becomes in creative field. So
Yes, I agree. Yeah, you have to be able. It's like we talked about in the beginning with the managers saying things to you. You have to be able to just let these things like wash over you and just have the self-esteem and be like, look, I know who I am. I know what I want to do. I know what I have done. And
yeah, and you know your weaknesses already. You don't need somebody to point them
yeah,
out to you. Like if somebody tells me something that I actually am not like good at or whatever, I'm like, well, that's fair, but also like you're not helping me or you're not. It's not going to make me feel bad. Basically, I'll just
right.
like you don't need to tell me what I'm good or not good at. Like I'm aware of what I'm good and not good at.
Right.
So yeah, just let it keep a thick skin. I just don't deal with that shit at all.
Yeah, that's what you see
Keep
like with
moving
comedy
forward.
shows. Like comedians will like come out first off and just make fun of themselves, like everything that anybody's thinking, some stereotypical thing
Damn,
about.
it's like yeah, you took all my ammo. Shit, you just came out
Yeah,
like
so it's like, all
yeah,
right, I'll
you
make fun of myself, and then you got nothing. You can't even hurt me. It's like,
yeah,
um,
exactly. There you go.
that's true.
Beat him to it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, is there any other thing you want to kind of promote or talk about, or any kind of words for the DJs you want to say that we weren't able to speak on yet?
Um, probably when we hang up, I'm like, dang, I should have asked about that. But as of right now, there's nothing that comes to mind. I mean, it's been a good convo. I think we covered a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for anybody who, is interested in watching me on Twitch, Twitch/VTech the DJ, same as all
Okay.
my socials. Yeah,
So
but I
everything's
mean,
VTech the DJ,
yeah,
Instagram, Twitch, all of it.
yeah,
I
all
guess
VTech the
one thing
DJ.
I did want to ask, may have mentioned it earlier, but is like just being in Vegas for those 9 years and DJing in all those clubs. I know every time I go to Vegas, the people watching is incredible. I always have some sort
Top
of weird
notch,
story.
top
Yes,
notch.
I always have some sort of weird story after a night. Like you must have seen some of the craziest things ever. Does anything stand out to you as like just like an amazing Vegas story or just some ridiculous thing you've seen after a DJ
Yeah.
night there?
Most of the time, most of the things that stick out in my head is all things Encore Beach Club because
Like
that
what? Give
place
us
is so
something, a couple
huge.
stories or something.
So, first of all, you've seen a lot of a simple one is a lot of bad plastic surgery where you're like, whoa, that's shit you see on TMZ or something that's weird. I did see
Oh my God.
people actively having sex at Encore Beach Club, and I was kind of appalled that nobody had
Wow.
caught them yet because that's clearly not allowed. Um, and it was like happening for like a good 30 seconds before, because I'm like, I saw it happening because you're observing from that big platform. You can see
Oh
everything, and the
yeah.
place is huge.
Oh my
Yeah, and I
God.
remember, yeah, seeing it, and I'm like, and finally they got, told to stop, or I don't know if they got kicked out or whatever, but I've seen
Yeah.
other sexual acts happening there, maybe not active, sex, but
Yes.
just other things in the pool. You could see there's clearly things going on. And then, actually, I do have a funny story. I don't even know if I should tell this.
Yes, you
It's
should
actually,
definitely.
okay, it's actually about me.
Okay.
When I first moved to Vegas, this is horrible. I was at Excess Night Swim, and I was in the pool and I was drinking, and I had just gone to go get shots for my friends. I went to the bar, and I couldn't really hold everything nicely, so I was like, I'm gonna take one of these shots. And like, I take this shot and I get in the pool, and it's packed. It's a fucking party night. It's Excess Night Swim. It's crazy big, busy. And I
Right.
take the shot and I'm holding these drinks, and I'm like trying not to get water in them. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling sick all of a sudden, almost like I couldn't, like that didn't sit right with me, that shot. and I have to throw up.
Oh, no.
And I'm in the pool because you do not ever want to be that guy. Never. Anybody
No.
listening, don't be that guy ever. Excuse yourself and leave. But I'm in the pool and I'm holding drinks and I'm like, oh my God, all my options are like non-existent. And I'm like, oh no, it's happening. So I throw up in my mouth and I re-swallow it.
No, I'm going to throw up.
It was that bad because not only is it gross to throw up in your mouth and swallow it, but I had just taken a shot. So there's vodka in there. And it was probably the worst. I can't say the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but very much up there. This is why I'm telling the story, just because it's an interesting Vegas story. And it reminded me of it when I was talking about weird shit that happens at pool parties. But I didn't throw up in the pool. And I felt so proud of myself. As disgusting as that is, I literally threw up in my mouth.
Proud of myself.
I know.
Wow.
I literally threw up in my mouth and re-swallowed it. And nothing was like, I still had my shots. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucking terrible. Like, I felt so disgusting inside. But also I was like a little proud of myself because I didn't throw up in the pool. And then anyways, I didn't tell anybody about that until afterwards. And that's
incredible.
I don't even know why I felt compelled to tell you that story now. It's pretty
no,
gross,
that's good.
I'm sure there's other weird shit like happening to people in Vegas like that all the time.
That's some Vegas
You know the fucking vibes.
vibes right there.
There was another time I was at Excess and I was in the restroom. And there was a girl passed out in the stall underneath mine. Like her whole body was in my stall. And I'm like, of course I got to take a picture first. And then I got her help. But I had to take a picture. I posted it on Instagram or on my, I don't think it was when stories were there. But I was like, this is what's happening in Las Vegas right now. And then of course I got her help and made sure she was okay. She just was drunk and I think maybe she was at some point throwing up or not.
She needed a nap.
But she was straight up like in my stall. Like I had walked in and I'm like,
wow.
The whole ass girl in here. Yeah, so there's plenty of stuff like that happens.
Wow,
yeah.
that's
I
crazy.
saw a girl getting dragged out by her friends and she had poop running down her leg.
Oh God.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
She was like,
no, I've gotten into an elevator and dude's just been like, he was like the bar where you're standing, you can like hold it by your waist or something, but he was like on the ground holding onto it, but passed out with just like, I don't know what was running down his chest and coming out of his pants. And I was like, yo, this is crazy right now.
Yeah. So. And it's like, I've been here so long. I've seen like very similar things like that. It usually has to do with people being either messed up on drugs or really, really drunk. So I've seen a lot. Mostly stories like that.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby. You need that soundbite. Vegas, baby.
I know, you're right. I got to take it from that. What movie? Swingers. Vegas, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
Your money, baby. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm glad we finally made this happen and I could get to know you better and everybody out there gets to know you better and hopefully they get to see you DJ on Twitch if they haven't already or get to see you in person. You're, like I said, you're coming to Sacramento. You're in Vegas. You're traveling all over. Everyone can check your schedule, I'm sure, on the Scam site or on your website and all that stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah, or follow me on Instagram. I always post my shows on there as well. So.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. Well,
thank you for having me. It's really fun talking to you.
Yes, of course. You too. And nice ending with the disgusting story.
I mean, it's not, you didn't finish the story if it didn't come with a throw up, little ending story. So
everyone has thrown up. If you haven't thrown up in Vegas, you've not lived.
Yeah, so. But like, I thought you were going to say everybody's thrown up in their mouth before. I'm like, no, I don't think people do that.
No, your story is unique. I've told some serious throw up stories on this podcast before. Like I told it on other ones, but like I saw somebody throw up into a fan and then it went and everybody in the VIP section, like she threw up behind the fan and it went into it.
That's horrible.
And then shot it forward and nobody knew what was happening. They were just like, this wet stuff's going all over. And then they started smelling it and other people started throwing up. And
I guess that puts a good picture to it when the shit hits the fan. Although glad it wasn't shit, but throw up is almost as bad.
It was just as bad. You're right. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. And then I told that story on like you said, I documented it and then never have DJ'd at that club ever again. And they hated me after that. So DJs don't tell the story in public after. I learned that much.
Yeah. Maybe you can bleep out the club. I said I almost threw up in their pull out because nobody needs to know
you're good. You didn't do it. I have a different situation.
Got you.
I made them not look good. So
Got you.
All right, amazing. So much fun having you on, and really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you in person somewhere in Vegas or
actually,
in
when are you
LA.
back in Vegas?
Not for a minute. I'm at Tao December 2nd, I think, but I don't have anything until then. So I'll be there when it's cold.
Yeah. Bring your jacket. It's always super cold in December.
I know nobody realizes that. Like everyone's like, Vegas hot all the time. Like that, I've been there. I've DJ'd outside when I used to do Trist. It was like 25 degrees, like Fahrenheit. Like,
it can get so cold.
I couldn't feel my hands.
And the New Year's.
Yeah.
Oh man, like New Year's too. It's so windy around there for some reason. So not only is it cold, it's like 32 degrees, but then you have the wind chill, which feels like 20, and you're just dying. It's so cold.
Yeah.
I DJ'd at the top of the top of the Rio one time, and I was freezing. I thought I was going to pass away. I was like, I'm so cold that I wasn't properly dressed for how cold it was. And I just wanted to quit. I'm like, I can't feel my hands. Like, I'm just miserable.
Yeah, me too.
Bad.
I've done that. I used to do it at Trist because they'd have that waterfall and all the water, and it was so cold. And like, my whole face is freezing, and my fingers and my hands, and I was trying to like put them up to this heater. I'm like, this is brutal. But we made it through.
Well, I'll see you in December, if not sooner than here.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Peace.
All right. No problem. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. That was super fun. Thank you to VTECH for coming on the show. I was, waiting for this interview for a while, and was so cool to learn so much about her. I've known her for a while, but I had not known all of that info. She's incredible. Go check her out on her Twitch, or go check her out live when you can. And thank you to her for coming on the show. Thank you guys, the Beatsourcers, for listening. As always, we're available on every platform. Rate and review the show on Apple to help us grow. Give us some thumbs up on YouTube. Make some comments. Hit us on Spotify. Do it all. And hit me on my Instagram at DJ Spider, DJSPIDER. And let me know some topics you want discussed, any questions you got, and all that kind of stuff. The 20 Podcast is produced by Beatsource. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.